Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever video. This is a, what if Deku was a villain? I've never met anyone like you, but I'm glad I did. Pray that you'll get a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive off the roof. And so Izuku did, but instead of dying he got saved by the villains. Izuku is now known in the public as Deku, and for the past 2 years Deku has been the world's most dangerous and violent villain. But will one little kidnap of a certain gravity quirk girl change his mind? This is my first story and it is an Izuocha story, and for some reason I like villain Deku x hero ochako. Sorry if there are misspelling mistakes or error in the story, or if the story is trash, please give me feedback. Disclaimer, I do not own the story, nor do I have any connection to the Bones Incorporation. If you like this video or have a suggestion on a different video, please comment or hit that like button. Since this is my first ever video, I don't exactly expect much, so if it's not too much to ask, I'd like the goal of the video to be 10 likes. If we can make this happen, then I'm sure this could work out. Now without further ado, let's begin this what if video. Izuku POV. Pray you'll have a quirk in your next life, and take a swan dive off the roof of the building. No. Why would you say that, Kaken? I thought you wanted to be a hero, and I did too. I thought I wanted to be a hero, but I guess everyone's right, I need to dream realistically. Sorry kid, but you can't be a hero without a quirk. That is what my idol, All Might, said. I saved Kaken from the sludge villain too, only to get scolded for being reckless, so here I am taking Kaken's advice. I dangle my foot over the edge of the roof. I'm sorry Izuku, sorry kid, not gonna happen. You can't be a hero without a quirk. If you're gonna dream, at least dream realistic. Take a swan dive off the roof. Everything everyone said to me rang in my head at full volume until I couldn't feel the ground anymore. I did it, I jumped. I closed my eyes, waiting for the impact. I hope you're happy, Kaken, but it never came. Third POV. Izuku opened his eyes, only to see nothing but darkness. He tried to get up but couldn't, due to the fact that there was chains keeping him down in the chair that the author only would tell you now that he was sitting on. I see that you're awake now, said someone in the dark room with, creepily watching him sleep. Who's there, said the very startled broccoli boy. The mystery man turned on the light that was hanging above Izuku. The light didn't do much, it only made a light circle around Izuku and the chair. The man walked into the light, revealing some light blue hair, and a hand on his face and some around his body. My name is Tamura Shigaraki, and I am your host tonight for tonight's Tonight Show. That is, oddly enough, what Izuku wanted to hear, but sadly that is not what he heard. My name is Tamura Shigaraki, mystery man revealed his name. Izuku sat in chair, scared. He just wants to go home. Now, we have been watching you for a while. The world isn't fair, is it? Izuku looked down at the floor. Yes, the world is not fair, at all. Life's not fair. Izuku isn't letting a word came out of his mouth. We both know it, you know it. As much as you want to be a hero, nobody is gonna let you be a hero. No matter how hard you try. Izuku can feel tears stinging his eyes. Handyman dragged a bag in front of him and Izuku, and took out a burnt notebook. Is this yours? Izuku only nodded his head. Shigaraki opened it. Now, me and Master have already looked through this notebook. Izuku stared at him. And we like the detail in it, we find potential in you. Izuku still hasn't said a word. He just keeps on staring at him. Until he finds the courage to ask one question that has been stuck in his head since he got here. In which the answer should be obvious. Are you a villain? Shigaraki stares at Izuku for a good old 5 minutes, then sighed. Yes, I am a villain. Why in the crap world would a citizen kidnap a middle schooler? Izuku looks back at his feet. Good point. Shigaraki looks back at the notebook. Now, back to business. Shigaraki looks like he found a page that he likes. This notebook, Shigaraki flips the page. Can be in great use. Izuku is surprised when he said this. Normally when someone saw his notebook they would say it's trash or call him a stalker. But this handyman villain said that they see potential in him and said that his notebook is useful. Me and Master have decided, Shigaraki closed the notebook, that we want you to join us. Tamura smiled. Izuku was frozen in place. He didn't know how to reply to Shigi. But the more Izuku thought about it, the more it sounded like a good idea. They always said that I couldn't be a hero, but they never said he couldn't be a villain. Right? I will join you. Time skip 1 year later. Still third POV. Ever since Izuku agreed to be a villain, it has been non-stop training. But it has paid off. Izuku now has a 8-pack. That 8-pack is in very good use. It can knock out girl enemies once he flashes them 8-pack out. Just kidding. He doesn't flash on the 8-pack. Back to the story. Yes, this is a joke. Another way it paid off is that he is stronger now. Duh. Izuku gets out of bed and goes downstairs of the old abandoned bar they are currently in. He goes and sits on a stool at the bar. Morning Deku-kun, says Toga from behind him on the couch, with Dabi beside her. Hi Toga. Says Deku, not happy to see her. Dabi honestly feels bad for Deku. Good morning Deku, said the mom of the group, Kurojiri. Oh Deku, I have a mission for you, said Handjob. And what would that be? Deku said, still not happy to see his team. Well, he's happy to see Kurojiri. UA starts in 2 months. Shigi put up 2 fingers. And? Deku said while ordering some water from Kurojiri. Shigaraki put the 2 fingers down. And you are going to enroll into UA? Shigi put a shit-eating grin on. Deku choked on his water. Hell no, Deku wiped the water off his mouth. Well, you have to because word on the street is that All Might is a teacher there. Shigaraki smiled at the thought of All Might getting brutally killed by one of his own student. Deku glared at the mention of All Might. All Might was the reason that Deku is not a hero wannabe anymore. The reason why Deku hates heroes. The reason why his mom is sad. The reason why Deku almost died. Well, you better get to training for the entrance exam because you don't have a choice in this, and so Deku did. Izuku's first murder was one of his bullies, the one with the long fingers. Izuku kind of liked when he killed him, he felt strong, powerful, brave. And so he started killing more people, and so people know that it was him. He singed Deku on the walls with his victim's blood. And here is today, a month till the entrance exams to UA, and on the news is the chaos and 27 deaths from the 2 hands of who the public calls Deku. Izuku smiles at the news. These are Deku's 545th kills. If you ever see him, call heroes immediately, do not engage in battle. Time skip day of UA entrance exam. You better get in, said Shigaraki as Deku was leaving the hideout. Izuku rolled his eyes. As Izuku gets to the front gates to UA, he stops and takes a look at the building before him. He inhales and exhales, as his old past memories come back to him. But as Izuku was walking, he wasn't paying attention to the steps he was taking. And unfortunately trips and falls. As Izuku was waiting for impact, it never came. He opened his eyes and sees that he was right in front, close to kissing the ground. Sorry for using my quirk on you without permission, I thought you wouldn't mind, said a sweet voice. As she props Izuku back to him standing, Izuku was too busy staring at her. My name is Ochako Uraraka, by the way. What yours? She smiles at him. He scratches the back of his head. Great. Oh. We're gonna be late. Gotta go. Bye. Izuku watched as she goes. What the fuck is wrong with me, he thinks as he feels his heart beating out of his chest. She's cute. He though, blushing a little. But that little blush didn't last long, for he has realized what he just thought. And that blush soon turned into making his head into a tomato. What the fuck? No, she's not even my friend, yeah. I'm a lone villain, and let's keep it that way. Before Izuku went to go to UA, he first disguised himself. He dyed his hair black. Y'all know prototype Deku, right? Name, Mikumo Akatani. Nickname, Yamikumo. Hair color, black. Eye color, red. So that is what he looks like. Izuku is halfway done with the exam and has no points. It's not that Izuku can't defeat the robots, it's that everyone keeps stealing his points. The ground all of the sudden shakes. Izuku sees all of the kids running the opposite way that Izuku is facing. What the fuck, Izuku thinks, until he sees a giant-ass robot in front of him. What the fuck? Izuku turns around, about to run out of there. But instead he hears a faint ow. He turns around and sees a girl with short brown hair, the same one that saved him from intense embracement from falling on his face in front of everyone, then killing them all. She indirectly saved the kids' lives. Izuku's legs move on their own and quickly run to save her life, because she is about to get crushed by Feet Big-ass Robot. What am I doing? I need to be getting points. Screw her. He soon found himself crushing the ruble that was trapping her, and picking her up, bridal style. With Ochako in his arms, he sprinted away with one final thought, damn it. Third POV. After saving Uraraka, the 5 minutes were up and Izuku still didn't have a single point. At least that's what he thought. Deku put Uraraka down against a wall. Does it hurt? He asked while pointing to her leg. Just then Recovery Girl walked up to them and kissed Ochako's leg. Izuku have now realized that the hero wannabes were watching them. He did the only logical thing to do at the time, get up and walk away while flipping them off. While on his way to the hideout, Ochako says him and walks up to him. Bushy hair. Izuku looks over at her, raising an eyebrow. Thank you for saving me, she says, looking at her feet. Yeah, Izuku honestly doesn't know how to reply to thank you, if only he knew how to say, you're welcome, or even a simple anytime. But he is never going to say something like that. Unless it is sarcastically. Anyways, where you off to? Said a now very bubbly brunette. He walks down dark alley. She watches him. Where you going? She is now very confused. Home, he simply replies. Okay, well, see you later. She walks away. Izuku turns around and watches her go. Great, now I need to deal with a very pissed off Shigaraki. You didn't get a single point. Yeah, Hanman is very pissed. Well, I think I at least passed the written dash. Deku got a chair thrown at him before he could finish his sentence. How the hell are we gonna get information on UA now? Shigaraki said, scratching his neck furiously. Look, it's not proven that All Might works there as a teacher. Deku said, trying his hardest to down Tomura. At the entrance exam, an hour earlier. With the judges. At the custodian place there sits All Might. As he watches the kids, for some reason, he watches Bakugo and Mikumo as he sees potential in them. Release the 0-pointer. Skinny Might says. He wants to know how they would react when they see the 0-pointer. Do it yourself, the principal mouse said, smiling. And so All Might did. He released 10 of them. With Bakugo, I'm about to end these shitty robots' whole career, Katsuki thought as he blew the robots into ashes. But as he knew that he was going to get into UA, it still didn't feel right to him. Ever since Izuku went missing, a dangerous villain with a name all too familiar to him appeared 5 months later. Katsuki would just stop being mean to everyone and start ignoring them instead. A year back with Katsuki Bakugo. The TV switched on, now we are here at a crime scene, the famous hero, Kamui Woods, dead. Katsuki was surprised at the news, but since his parents are in his room, they also came to watch the news with him. The villain has revealed his name is Deku. Witnesses describe him to have green eyes, green hair, 4 freckles on his face, and looks to be about 13 or 14. If you ever see this kid, please contact the heroes and police immediately. Bakugo dropped the remote with a look of horror on his face. Hey, that sounds like what Inko's son looks like. Mitsuki said. Because that is what Inko's son looks like. Katsuki said. Because that is Inko's son. And now back to present day in the bar. It's been about 3 weeks since the entrance exams and Izuku finally got his letter from UA saying that he passed. In the letter, proof about All Might being a teacher was proven true. And so Izuku released the news to the teams. Guys! I got in, sadly. Deku said, almost crying. That's great news, Izuku. But now we need a plan. Said Shigaraki, smiling heavily. Isn't the whole thing of me getting into UA just so I can get info about their plans so we can make a plan to take down the heroes? Deku said, confused. Exactly. Shigaraki said. Deku put on his uniform, wiggles his hair into disguise, somehow changing his eye color to red, dye hair black, again, eats breakfast, and is now on his way to UA. Over the hills past the traffic to UA we go. And he makes it to the building. After taking a good 3 minutes of his time to find his classroom, he finally finds it. He opens the door, only to find a blue-haired glasses dude arguing with a all-too-familiar blonde. Holy shit, is that Kaken? The blonde looks over to the door to see who came in. He can't put his finger on who it is, but for some reason that black-haired extra looks familiar to him. Hey! I recognize that bushy hair, you're the boy who lives in an alley. A bubbly voice sighed behind him. He turns around only to see Ochako. Hi. Deku figured that acting would be a great thing to do. He doesn't want anyone to be suspicious of him, now does he? But unfortunately for him, that stutter was real. What's it like living in an alley? She asked, thinking he lives in an alley. She's not wrong, he lives in an alley, but what she's thinking was that he lives in a dumpster or something. I don't live in an alley. He said, knowing that she thinks he lives in a dumpster. I mean, I live in a building in an alley. He said, regretting saying that the moment it left his mouth. Oh. That's pretty shady. Ochako said with a look of concern on her face. Izuku really didn't want to be in this conversation anymore, so he changed the subject. We're right in the middle of doorway, we should probably move. Izuku steps out of the doorway. The class is still staring at them while the whole thing unfolds. Yeah, you should move to your seat, if you're here to make friends then you can leave right now. Said a very monotone voice that Izuku and Ochako can't find the owner to. Until they look down to see yellow sleeping bag with someone in it sprawled across the floor. Hey look, a caterpillar. Izuku yelled. Sadly I am not a caterpillar, I am your teacher Izawa. He lifted up a onesie with the letter U on the top part and A on the bottom part. It was blue and the letters were white. Now put on these clothes and go outside. In the boys' locker room, Izuku took off his shirt, only to reveal a bunch of scars on his body from fights he's had with the heroes. All the boys looked at him in surprise. What? Izuku asked, annoyed that they were staring at him. Bro, where did you get those scars? Asked a boy with red spiky hair. Whoa! Why is there a burnt handprint on your back? A guy with a black lightning bolt on the side of his hair asked. This caught Katsuki's attention, the opposite of what Izuku wanted. That little comment caught Katsuki's attention due to the fact that he used to blast Deku's back when Izuku was face first against a wall. Don't get any ideas, they pushed him against the wall to trap him. When Bakugo did this, he could see his hand on Midoriya's uniform. But Bakugo didn't think that his handprint would make it to the skin on Deku's back. Katsuki turns around to look at who he thinks is Makumo. Katsuki looks at Izuku's back to see a faint handprint, born on Deku's back. Izuku, noticing that Bakugo was staring at his back, quickly puts his shirt on and walks out of the locker room. That handprint was the same size as my hand. Alright, we're doing a test. Remember the physical tests you did in middle school? We are doing those, but you can use your quirk. Izawa said in his usual monotone voice. Some students said that this test was going to be fun, which seemed made Izawa frown. You think this is gonna be fun, huh? Well guess what, the person in last is getting expelled. The class except Momo were in an uproar by this. Izuku could care less, but somewhere deep inside him, he didn't want to get expelled. After a big speech about how the world isn't fair and how heroes risk their lives every day, they finally got to the tests. Since Izuku didn't have a quirk, he failed every test except the grip test. Remember, he's strong now. But he still got in last place in every test, so that leaves him to be the one to get expelled. One thing that surprised him a little bit during the tests was when Uraraka sent a ball to space in the ball throw test. She obviously got infinity on that one. And Bakugo exploded the ball yelling die. Yeah, that sounds very Bakugo, doesn't it? Akatani, you're in last place. So you're getting expelled. For some reason he couldn't explain, he felt a tear in his heart and a pit in his stomach. But there was one explanation that only crossed in a deep empty part of his brain. He still wanted to be a hero. This is the end of part 1, I'm sorry the story had to end short, but it really took a long time to make this video. I hope in the near future I can make my videos at least 40 minutes long in the future. But if you like this video and want to see more of it, hit that like button and slam that subscribe button for more What If in the future, and I'll see you all later.